Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my tarot channel. My name is Paulina and I thought it was time to do a more full reading. I was taking a respite, or I was experiencing respite. I was taking a bit of a Four of Swords moment for myself. And I did some automatic writing today that I'm going to put in our reading. And I don't expect to go too long because it's kind of a nice day, and I think there's something I need to do in terms of being outside that I'm being called to. I listened to a lot of spiritual material, and one thing that stuck out to me today was I was listening to, I'll put them below, but I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to create polarity if people have certain feelings, because it's a famous sort of psychic. But she and another psychic were talking, and on this podcast, and they were talking about the idea of spirit let days, which I kind of call it just being the yes man, like the Jim Carrey movie, which I think I've talked about before, just like saying yes to experiences. And the spirit let day is sort of like letting spirit guide and create the day rather than being so worried. We are in Sun in Leo now, so for me it brings up I have Lilith in Leo. I also have some asteroids in Leo, which can be about the way they're placed. They're supposed to be about being an artist or sharing an artistic gift, but I encourage you to look at your asteroids. Often people don't look at the asteroid placements, but specifically Make is one that I think that might be important for you, and Phallus, and also Ceres has to do with the mother, Phallus is the father, and then Make I think it's a little bit more of an obscure meaning, but you should look it up. I'm just being guided to share that. Yeah, I'm just thinking of a series of numbers that I don't actually know what they relate to in the Bible, but it's 12, 23, and 23:12. So that may be just like scripture that is pertinent to what's going on. I'm gonna write that down so that I look it up. 12, and it's again reciprocal, that it would be, you can look up 12:23 or 23:12 in any of the sort of gospels or anywhere. There's a psalm that I'm being called to share, Psalm psalm. It says, it's from the Old Testament. It says sort of like, by day you guide me, and by night your song guides me, or something like that. O Lord of my life. It's sort of about being protected, and it mentions day and night because I don't know if it says your song, but it says it's about the Lord of my life, protecting me day and night. I'll put it below, but it's from the Old Testament, and actually the ancient Jewish peoples, the tribes of David, the tribes of Judah, that may be a stretch, I don't know if they're actually called that, the tribes of Israel, sorry, believed that nighttime could be a dangerous time where like demons could come out, etc. So it's not insignificant that it mentions nighttime. Lord of my life, by day I'm guided by your song, by night your song soothes me, something like that. I'm gonna put it somewhere. There's just like something about, even in the darkness, in the dark moments of your life, you are being guided by spirit, by God, by energy. And the more that you can tune into synchronicities, as Carl Jung dubbed them, which is, the more that you can tune into them, the more you're going to be aware of how everything is actually being guided and divinely planned. Nothing is by accident, I'm hearing. I'm channeling some energy. Nothing is by accident. Every situation that you're finding right now is brought to you by your guides for your growth and healing, and that may be difficult to hear, but I'm having a continual image of a mountain and someone going up a mountain. So I feel that's come up in my readings a lot, but I want to stick with it, that we are in the year of the horse. But I was going to talk about Capricorn and going up the mountain. I originally got here because I was talking about Lilith. I have the sign Lilith in Leo, which means sort of fear of being seen, but also the desire to be seen or appreciated, and also artistic expression that is, maybe it feels almost too delightful to be, you know, it's like a vice or something. That I love art so much is kind of one of the things, but it's also like, it can mean like difficult childhood, it can mean indifference to motherhood, which I can relate to. It can mean someone who has like a sort of a PowerPoint about expressing themselves in the world. So I don't know where Leo hits your chart, but Leo is a sign about self-expression, and folks who have it in Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury are especially expressive, and they need to be heard. They need to be the actors in the world. I'm hearing all the world's a stage and all its men and women merely players. It's a Shakespeare quote. You may have been in a situation lately where you felt like you were afraid to be seen. It was, and I posted an interesting video from a very smart woman today, just a creator, about women's fear of visibility. And this can go for men too. You may have felt like in the past, however long, you were afraid to be seen. And now you're being called to be a little playful, because Leo is the lion. It's which relates to a Christ figure in some tales, in terms of the Chronicles of Narnia, for example. C.S. Lewis was a Christian, and I believe, was he a Catholic, or I'm not sure if he was Episcopalian. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. He wove that into, you don't have to be Christian to be interested in what I'm saying, because you know, this is for all religions, but I'm just using this idea of like inner strength. Aslan is the character in Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I read all those books as a kid. Somebody here's a reader, somebody here's a speed reader, and it's almost like you can't get enough. I almost feel like reading for somebody watching, and I know this is true for myself, it slows you down and it's so enjoyable, and there's something there about reading. But in terms of being expressive, being creative, honoring our childhood could be one thing for Leo season. And it could also rule like short affairs or short romances, just childhood, children, performance, and just creativity, artistic prowess. They can be a little animalistic on the negative side, but King of the Jungle, the best thing that the Leo has to offer is its humanitarian nature. Remember, they're opposite Aquarius, so they do lead with the heart. And anyone who has the nodes, which right now the collective nodes are, the South Node is in Leo. So right now the Sun is conjunct the South Node. The North Node is in Aquarius. So the Sun being conjunct the South Node in Leo is like, there may be like something being spotlighted right now from our past, from our childhood, that was challenging, but it's also becoming like a PowerPoint, is how I want to read it here, because the South Node can also be a strength that is gained from hardship. It's not just the negative traits of that sign. And it rules our past, the South Node. Anyway, so South Node in Leo being conjunct Sun in Leo, it's about like feeling like king of the jungle within our own jungle of experience, within our own story. I'm being called to share Zizek. I forget his, is it Slavoj? I forget how you say his first name. Slavkov? Zizek. He's a like philosopher, and he writes about sort of some tropes in Western storytelling. Particularly, he writes about the hero's journey. I feel like there's something here about when I talk about Aslan and the Chronicles of Narnia. There's just something about, like, in that book, they open the closet and it transforms them to a different world. It reminds me of chaos magic, which is related to quantum physics, sort of. It's like, and some people would call this skipping timelines, but it's basically like finding loopholes out of your reality, finding wormholes. I don't know if a scientist would call it that, but what you need to do right now, I'm being guided to say by Spirit, is envision a reality. Envision what you want. Get really specific. And every time that your mind says that can't happen, tell yourself, it's okay, I'm just imagining. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between what we imagine and what's real. Imagine what you want. Write a list of it. Make a vision board, which is a collage of imagery. Or you could just do it like on your computer or your phone. You don't have to actually do a collage. But like, also just visualize it. I'm a swimmer. When I used to do swim meets as a young person, they would have us visualize or envision the whole race, and it really helped. And I started to use that in other places in my life. Is there somebody here who's an athlete? Somebody here who at least is coming into contact with the body in a new way? Somebody here may have had some heart issues with South Node conjunct, or circulation issues. I'm at a train station, so I'm channeling some just like transitional energy, which is very Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. But the truth is, we're all in transition. And I feel like the more you recognize that snakes lose their skin over and over, is what I'm being called to say, the more you'll be okay with that continual process. Remember, we are in Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is how you properly say it. Uranus in Gemini. So that is being comfortable with sudden change, being adaptable and mutable to sudden change. Because Uranus is fixed in its sudden change. It's like, the rug's pulled out from under you. Figure it out now. In some sort of life situation, that's Uranus, or it could be good fortune. The rug is suddenly under you. And then the Gemini is a mutable sign. So it's like being able to be like, okay, I'm going to adapt to this, and I'm going to maybe create a multitude of ways to deal with this, to cope, because it's about multiplicity, Gemini. So I'm going to pull a couple cards for us, but Sun and Leo, it just makes me want to smile. Somebody needs to smile more. Somebody watching, I'm hearing a specific message. Somebody watching is not getting enough sodium, which feels weird. I actually had too much sodium yesterday, so it made me think a lot about the salt balance. Somebody is like not eating enough. Somebody watching. It's like you need to, it's not even about that you're trying to lose weight. I think it's anxiety. You may be like, and no shame, we've all been there. I've been there. Somebody watching, I'm just reading some of the energy. Somebody with a B name is you or someone important to you. Thinking of hunting rifles. Somebody from the South watching, or somebody who used to do, what is it called when it like throws a plate into the air, and you shoot the plate with like, I don't even know if it's a real gun. I'm also thinking about BB guns. When I was a kid, I used to love I was like a tomboy. So I would go to camp and do archery and BB guns and like all the weird boy stuff, and it would be like me with a bunch of boys. Is there somebody watching who's been the odd man out in groups? And me, okay. So there's somebody here who's like been very assertive. Like, you've had to be assertive. Like, what girl takes BB shooting? But I wanted to, because I was like, that sounds cool. I want to know what it's like to shoot a BB gun and like get the bullseye. That sounds fun. I was literally the only girl. I was only go for archery, which didn't make sense because I thought, we're gonna be like Athena. Like, how can you not want to take archery? And I don't know. I'm also thinking of horses, which keeps coming up. We are the year of the horse. I did mention that. Horses. I love horses and horseback riding. I'm a little bit channeling my dead horse who died within the last, it was a family horse, but I thought it was mine, basically. My horse died and it was a real bummer. There's something about like somebody who died and it was a real bummer. Somebody died and it was a real bummer. Somebody died and it was a real bummer. Somebody who like, it was like you thought, this person is so like innocent. Death is gonna come to them too, but the great equalizer, right? I'm also channeling a little bit of Jerry Garcia because I love Jerry Garcia energetically, and also just I love his music, and I've connected spiritually with it like so many times, just especially in the past year. I've become much more of a deadhead and historian of their work, and just I like to research, and he's a very interesting character, but his energy is coming through the reading. He was a Leo. Something about just going for, it's really big energy. It's like just going for what you want, you know? Somebody here has like a Mercury in Leo, and you've been like, or even like a Venus in Leo, and you're like, you have that big energy, like, see me. And maybe it does bring like groups or like people. It's like you're a king and there's like people coming to like the court, but you're a magnanimous king is what I'm hearing. But it's like, it's almost like you need to be comfortable on your throne. Somebody who, you know, a lot of Leo's sun, particularly the first decan and second, are afraid of fame, and it's like their destiny to walk into fame, and if they can't do that, they may not be fulfilled. And I don't mean fame like famous for fame's sake like the Kardashians. I mean like famous for a contribution, either with the arts or something creative or something that helps humanity, because remember, again, opposite Aquarius, which is about the group, the organization, the society, community. I got Four of Wands. There's something that you are, maybe someone that you like thinking of shacking up with is what I'm hearing. It's a card of marriage. It's a card of celebration. The Four can also be stability. So, and the Four can also be instability, actually, because the Uranus can be sudden change, and Uranus relates to Four. So it's a weird kind of number. I just feel like stability here is important for you in this year of the horse, that you're gonna learn. Again, this quote has been coming through a lot, but I'm gonna say it again. It's a Robert Louis Stevenson quote, who's a writer, and he said, he wrote Treasure Island. He said, sit loosely on the saddle of life, because, you know, there's somebody here who's afraid of aging, I'm hearing, and it's like, yes, this is a process. This is a process is what I'm hearing. This is what we do. Somebody's saying that. One of your guides is watching you, remote viewing you as you're going through some seasons of life. They've been with you. And in terms of having a let them day, it's not about saying yes to everything. It's like letting spirit show you. Like a lot of times in this guide is telling me, a lot of times in your life, you have felt like everything must be planned, and if I don't have the plan, then it's all gonna fall apart. And God has a better plan. Spirit has a better plan. So it's also, you were made that way. So don't discount your planning and organizational skills and abilities. Make the list, make the chart, make the flow chart. You know, I'm like that too. I come off as a hippie, but I'm very structured in my day. I have a lot of sixth house stuff. I have Mars in the 6th house, and my ascendant is in Aries. So I like to know what's what, and it also has to do with the 6th house rules small animals, so my day can cycle around the care of my dog, but I like to have my list. I like to know what's going to happen next. And the thing is, my North Node is in Pisces, so that would mean the sixth house is conjunct. My 6th house is also in my South Node. Sorry, I do have South Node in the 6th house as well as in Virgo. Sorry, that's a lot of info. So I'm just saying, I'm very like, I want things to make sense logically, and in terms of like critical thinking skills, but I'm being guided to trust and to know. And this is why we're a vibrational match. Whoever's watching this, that you're being guided to make those lists, make those plans. But when you're guided by spirit to maybe, instead of instead of your second workout for the day, you go to the movies. There's a reason Spirit wanted you to see that movie. Following the hunch, okay? There's something in that movie that's important. Don't discount that feeling of, I think I've worked out enough today. I'm gonna go, I wanna go watch that movie. There's also that when we let ourselves relax and unwind, we allow for a lot of new insights and ideas to come through. And we can pick up more on the synchronicities that are happening in our reality. Somebody needs to breathe with me. We're just gonna breathe. We're gonna breathe in through the belly. I'm gonna take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it here with me and let go. We're gonna envision golden light, a rod of golden light. You can close your eyes if you want. It's going through the center of your body from the top of your head, crown chakra, all the way down to the root chakra, all the way down your abdomen. A gold rod of light, and it's sparkling, okay? And it is rotating. It's sort of going round and round. It's almost like a merry-go-round rod, but this rod is golden and it's sparkling and it has an aura, and as you breathe in, it gets brighter and you can feel your energy growing. And as you breathe in more, hold it, breathe out, releasing all negativity, breathing in and watching the yellow light of the golden rod expand, watching the golden light encompass your body in an aura. And it's getting really powerful now. Breathing out, breathing in, and now the aura of the golden light from the center of your body is expanding, and it's 6 feet around your body, envisioning this golden aura from the golden rod, and it's taking up space. Somebody here, you can open your eyes now. Somebody here needs to learn to take up space, and also somebody here, it's like you need to let yourself take your time. Take your time in something. You're pushing yourself, but your inner being, your inner guide knows, the guide inside knows your timeline. You have a different timeline. It's not to say that you're not being productive, okay? There's some goals that you're managing or trying to work through that are long term, and the more that you can steady and clear your mind and get your mind right, is what I'm hearing, the more you're going to be ready to play, also, is what I'm hearing. I'm thinking about the movie Love and Basketball that came out of nowhere, but I was thinking about playing basketball as a kid just for fun. And Love and Basketball is a great movie. There's somebody here who's in that kind of commitment situation where there's been a lot of changes and growth of someone that you've known for a long time. This could be non-romantic. It could be romantic, non-romantic, or just a relationship. It's it's such a great movie. It's also about womanhood and feminism and men supporting women and growing together within a community, and then not within the community, because it's about this young couple who falls in love really young. They meet when they're little kids, they're playing basketball, and then they start dating, I think in high school, and then they fall in love and they have a baby, and it's sort of just about seeing them through all these seasons of life. And somebody here may play basketball, but it's just there's just something also about honoring your season of life, and your guide is saying that you need to watch yourself and how far you've come, and give a little applause here that your energy is expanding. Don't let it shrink. Leo is a fire sign. It's big, loud energy. It's kind of hard to not be big and loud when it's late July and it's August, because Leo's a fixed sign, and it's August, can we not see how it's a little bit of a fixed month? It's hot. It's very much here and there. I mean, here, there, and everywhere. Is that a song that's important to you? The Beatles? Here, there, everywhere. I was thinking the song from Santana. It was is it Santana? It was I ain't got nobody that I can depend on, yeah. If it's not Santana, then you should also look up Santana. He's a great guitarist, a great soloist. Something about the cult of Guadalupe or the cult of Santeria. Sorry, different thing, I think. The cult of Santeria, which is from Mexico. I heard the term in Spanish in my head, lo que me pasó, which means what I've been through. Is somebody here a Spanish speaker, or somebody's feeling like they've been through a lot? But with the Fool card, you're like on the precipice of a new beginning. So fear not is what your guides are saying. And you need to, again, do a little bit of remote viewing. Find out how to detach from your body in meditation, and look at your past a little bit. I'm saying it's okay, and say, wow, I was there and now I'm here, and give yourself a little applause, and maybe some applesauce is what Spirits is saying. There's somebody needing pectin. Pectin is what's in apples, and it helps the digestive tract clear any toxins. That's why apple a day keeps the doctor away. Johnny Appleseed went across the U.S. planting apples, I believe, unless it's just something they tell us in school. But somebody could utilize maybe just some eating apples to clear the digestive tract. Like maybe you've been eating something that it's like not sitting well the next day. Okay, and I'm gonna get another card, and then I have some automatic writing that I want to share. Ooh, yeah. Let's sit with this energy. The Death card reversed. You guys are saying you don't need to go so quickly, is how I'm reading this. Like, I want to read death as relating to Pisces in this context, which also is death, not just Scorpio. But even though this is traditionally a Scorpio card, I'm gonna link it to Pisces here, because Pisces is about death, is also just rest. And so someone who has North Node in Pisces, which I was sharing that I do, you're like headed towards rest, a restful, peaceful life, rather than being overworked and overworking. And that could be you, that you're headed towards a rest, some peace, something where it's like you felt like the cycle was over, but you're seeing that there's no way for the cycle to be over. The cycle just keeps cycling. I heard Swiper stop swiping. Is that from Dora the Explorer? It's like somebody was like swiping from you. Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah. There's somebody with the Death card reversed that we just had. Somebody here, like you are really triggered when people say like, okay, there's 2 points of being triggered for you. One point is that when people are like upset about things from their past that were unfair, that's really triggering for you, because you then say, look at your part, look at your role. And the truth is, sometimes you have a blind spot, that there are experiences where it only takes one person to ruin the relationship. That is a truth. And I think that you can't see that. Excuse me. I think you're having trouble. You're putting all the blame on yourself with the Death card reversed. It feels a little heavy. It's like you've been in a little bit of a rest from maybe others, and letting yourself be reborn in relationship, because in the past, when people were like there was no reason for them to be cruel or hurtful, you internalized it in some way and made it like, I deserve this. I don't deserve to take up space, which we already got in the reading. But like, you're like, this in some way is my karma and I deserve this. And that's really too bad, because that's really good that you take accountability. But the truth is, there's people in the world who are toxic. There's people in the world who have major issues. There's people in the world who are malevolent. I'm being called to share the book Machiavelli, The Prince by Machiavelli, which is just like a short volume about this man who thinks strategically in relationship and sort of is kind of a bad guy. But I don't know, in philosophy classes it would be like, is it really that bad? But excuse me, I'm hearing a bird. I'm not sure what kind of bird that is, but when birds are singing in the forest, I'm being called to share as part of what I was just saying. That means that the predators are gone. So you can know if you go hiking and there's bird song that you're okay for however long. You're not gonna encounter anything negative if you're hearing a lot of birds. If it gets silent, that's when you want to maybe not be alone or just be a little cautious. That could mean there's a predator. That relates to this situation. There was somebody who, I just want to say, like, they're not here now, they're gone, and they may not be gone energetically from your mind and your experience, but there's someone who was detrimental to you, your actions, and you internalized it and made, well, I'm bad, so what they did was one-sided. Okay, it's like they took scissors and cut the cord, and you were like, hey, I still got this half cord, let's reconnect. And they were like, no. And you were like, the other day, this is kind of what happened with this person, that you're like, now whenever you see someone saying someone hurt them, you can't handle it. You can't handle it because you want no one to be victims. No victims. We're all winners. And I'm not saying you are a victim, but the other day I was in the woods, or I was about to go on a hike with my dog, and I saw these two bucks guarding the trailhead, and these just two deer with huge antlers. And deer, when they're together as males in a group, can goad each other on, and the hormones can just like be more aggressive, more testosterone. And so one of them flanked and moved to the side, and the other one moved towards me, and I was like shocked, because I've usually experienced deer just being really passive and walking away when they see animals, but these deer were like habituated to having humans in their turf. Okay, because I guess this is a highly trafficked footpath, which I was like, how are the people that are in the trail gonna get out of here? But anyway, there's something like that. And so then I just went back to my car, and one of them tried to follow me. It was weird. It was like they were like aggressive. They were like, you can't come in here. And this person that you interacted with like that hurt you, that made it so now when other people are like, I feel hurt, you're like, you're just a victim. Like, look at your part. Because you looked at your part a million times. You looked at this part and that part and this part. There's still a piece that doesn't add up. And it's like the missing pieces that you're not seeing, that like sometimes people don't play fair. And sometimes people guard what's theirs. There may have been an energy here like that with the deer, where it was like, you don't go this way. This path is closed to you now. You figure out a new path. And it may have actually been two people, that one person was aggressive and the other person flanked that person. Or this could just be an analogy that the universe is, you're feeling that way, blocked. And I'm saying this block is, know when to turn back and go to your car. Know when to be like, okay, I'll come back another day, or I won't go to this trail anymore, or whatever it is. Like, yeah. And the second thing that's really bothering you is that you're not okay with parts work, or in IFS. This is really just interfamily systems is a newer modality that is really just Gestalt, which is Gestalt. It's a German word, which means many components all like composite in one being, or one, like a group. One example is like in an art museum or an art show of one artist. All the paintings are, there was many paintings, but there's one thing that holds them together. Like that's the Gestalt, or the Gestalt. So it's like that in therapy. There's this thing called chair work, when you can talk to this empty chair and make it be like, oh, my mom's in the chair, my old self is in the chair, my ex-boyfriend's in the chair, what would you say? And then the chair doesn't answer back, obviously. Another person might have you sit in the chair to answer back, but that gets a little much. But I was gonna say that parts work is like Gestalt on acid. It's like there's all these parts of us inside, a multiplicity of selves. I'm also being called to share from Whitman, I contain multitudes, from Leaves of Grass, and the movie Life of Chuck by Stephen King, which is great. It's about, you think the whole time that the world is ending, but it's actually this guy is dying, and it's all the memories and things that have lived inside him, all the experiences, they're all dying too, because it all exists only within him. Yeah, there's somebody that you care about that may be dying, and it is making you think about your life and how you can make it matter, and that's good, but don't beleaguer don't obsess over it, because we all die. Your guides are saying, like, this is what I'm being called to say, the Ram Dass perspective on death, which he learned from a deceased person who was being channeled, that being dead is like taking off an old shoe that's been too tight, and then suddenly you're free. So don't be afraid of death is what your guides are saying, but don't be afraid of life either. I was going to say, in parts work, you may be afraid that people have many sides to them. And it's a little bit like DBT, which is more duality. It's like, this is true and that's true, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. And it relates to the dialects of Plato and Socrates, where they're like, what do you think about this? And the other person's like, it's like written as if it's like a play. The other character's like, I don't know. And they're just like throwing thoughts like a football. But so in DBT therapy, which is used and recommended for a lot of borderline people, they're like, okay, you hate this person. What else is good about them though? How can those two things exist? Because this gets into a little bit of a Buddhist or a Hindu belief that the world is us. Okay, the world is illusion, but what we're seeing out there, it's all the self. That's one perspective. That it's all the Atman, which is from Hinduism, the eternal self that holds us all together. It's all one. The Om, right, in yoga, OM. So that's just one perspective, that if you think of the universe that way, that all these people that you know, the greater world, all the experiences, it's all you. That's just one modality to use. That, like, then you might have a little bit more understanding. And that's not to say that we're letting people off the hook. There's someone here who's damaged you. I don't know who it is. Someone from the past. There's been damage. But the thing is, I'm being called to say by your guides and by spirit, like, you can't get through life without a few scuffs, okay? So don't be leaguer. Again, that word's coming up. That, like, oh, I didn't have the perfect this situation, or that wasn't great, or like my childhood, which we're in Leo season, childhood's coming up. It's like, okay, your childhood sucked, whatever, like, get over it. Okay, look at it, whatever, go to therapy, but love this life now is what your spirit guides are saying. And you felt like you were recovering from some defeat and some sort of like fight where people, like, you felt broken by the situation, but it really was to put you in your power seat. You hopped ahead, and the chaos magic that I mentioned before is just like one way that people can do this is to actually intentionally do it. You know, you would do like a ritual where you transport yourself to another time and place. So you can do this in your room. One thing is the witch's mirror that I suggest, which is a convex mirror that shows like a skewed version of yourself. It's supposed to be like you can see other realities in that mirror. Be in mind, if you do that, you may look into other people's realities that you're intimate with, and then they can look into yours. But another way to do that is just to set a small goal. And for the day, I gave the law of attraction example before in one of my shorts of setting the goal of creating a cup of coffee that materializes somehow easily for you. You know, maybe it's that you are driving and you're like, hey, that coffee shop looks good, or that somebody literally gives you a cup of coffee. But you are gonna say, I'm going to create a cup of coffee for myself. Think about coffee, think about what coffee feels like, think about all the things, the sensory aspects of coffee. And then let it go and watch it come into your experience. And there's just something here like that with the chaos magic. The more that you can let go of sometimes, like, okay, the more that you can let go of this really mono view of people and of the world, the less pain you're going to be in. You know, even the worst villain of all has a little bit of good. Even the best person in the world, the most virtuous, has a little bit of bad. You know, we're all human. So there's something here where you're punishing yourself because you're flawed and other people are flawed, so you're making yourself the victim you're like, I refuse to be the victim, what did I do? But the more that you can see that people have many sides and many selves, as do you, and many moods and many personalities within them, we all do, the more that you'll let this person off the hook in terms of not saying they didn't damage your life, but, you know, letting it be that you have been a little victimized. A little bit of victimization is what happens to everyone, and it's okay. And it's not about going on with your life saying I'm a victim. It's now I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Okay, so I got some automatic writing here, which is when I just tune out and let the writing happen. I don't know what it's about. I just like let from my subconscious happen. Again, it's another relating to let spirit. I felt guided to do this today, so I said I'm going to let spirit guide me, and this is what it wrote. Divine justice. Again, I wrote 1223/2312. Do the math. Don't bite too hard. A million little pieces. Explosions in the sky, the band. How many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? Every time you can let yourself trust, that is the moment to follow. Something is getting bigger. Warm, March 17th. Topaz, herbs. Let us alone. Floating in an ocean is preferable than drowning. Image of a precipice and a plateau, a cliff with coyotes howling. Don't trust an idea around an ultimate exit or relief from your problems. The way out is love. The way out is inward. Yeah, so I'm just going to let those sit and not analyze them too much. And I hope you got something valuable from the reading. And I'm sending my Leo heart of compassion to you. No, I'm not a Leo. I'm a Scorpio, but I have Leo in the 5th house. I have Lilith in Leo, and as I said, I have some asteroids in Leo. So I, again, hope that you will look up your asteroids. It feels important for this reading because you need to know some of the oblique, the less obvious, the more obscure aspects of your existence. Something about like animals large and small, creatures large and small. I don't know what that's from, but like, you know, the large and small within you, like just honoring the inner child, but also the adult. This comes from actually, is it Eric Berne in Transactional Analysis? He talks, it's from the 70s, I think, maybe late 70s, early 80s. He talks about like, so there's a child self, there's the adult self, and there's a parent self. And it's like, which self are we negotiating, transacting? Because remember, all energy exchanges the transaction, no matter what it is. It's not a bad thing, but what self are we transacting from? Are we in the child, in the parent, or the adult? And that's just something to keep in mind as we're in Leo season. And I'm wishing you a lot of love and laughter, as Leo can be definitely a sign of laughter. I'm wishing you fun. Leo's really a sign of fun, especially in August. And I'm hearing the words from Shakespeare, all is well that ends well. Knowing that what has ended in your life, since we got the death card reversed, is led by spirit. You know, the road that you couldn't go down, remember I was talking about the deer, is led by spirit. And trusting that what's coming for you is protected and guided. I'm also seeing Saint Teresa randomly. And Saint Therese, I think that's two different people. Saint Teresa obviously was a major saint figure who died within the last, like, I don't know how long ago, 15 years ago? I don't know. She was definitely someone who was charitable So you may be feeling generous right now, Leo, the sign of generosity. And I'm just wishing you so much generosity. Mother Teresa, I guess, is in the reading. And her energy is sort of saying, like, let go and let God, is what I'm hearing. And let fun guide you, because in truth, when we're giving to others from the heart, it is fun. When we're being generous with what we have, it is fun. It's like, and somebody here has been resentful, because it's like you give and then you resent when it's not reciprocated, or when the other person can't show up. It's like, just give from your heart and don't question it, and let go of any of those feelings of resentment, and realize that when you give love to others, you're giving love to yourself.